I hired a hitman to take out my daughter. I should have done it myself. My wife died giving birth to Iris. That's what the doctors told me. Complications during delivery. Hemorrhaging they couldn't stop. I held my newborn daughter while my wife's body cooled on the table behind me. The nurses tried to take Iris away for tests, but I wouldn't let go. She was all I had left. Her tiny fingers wrapped around mine, her eyes already open, staring. Most newborns can't focus, can't track movement. But Iris was watching me, really watching, with pale green eyes that seemed too aware, too knowing. The nurse who finally took her from my arms dropped her almost immediately, said the baby's skin felt wrong, too cold, like touching something that had been in a freezer. They ran tests, found nothing abnormal, sent us home 3 days later. The first nanny lasted 2 weeks. Margaret, 60 years old, excellent references, 4 grown children of her own. She started on a Monday. By the second Friday she was gone, left her keys on the kitchen counter. No note, no explanation. I found her 2 months later. She'd checked herself into a psychiatric facility in another state. When I visited, she wouldn't look at me, kept her eyes fixed on the wall behind my head. The baby's eyes, she whispered. They follow things that aren't there. She watches shadows move across walls, tracks them, follows them, things I can't see. I told the staff she was having delusions. They increased her medication. I went home and looked at my daughter sleeping in her crib. Her eyes were open, tracking something across the ceiling. Nothing was there. I tried 4 more nannies over the next 18 months. None stayed longer than 3 weeks. They all left the same way. Suddenly, without explanation, the last one, a young woman named Claire, left me a voicemail at 2 in the morning. Her voice was shaking. I can't come back. I'm sorry. Your daughter. She's not right. Tonight I was feeding her and she bit me. Drew blood. Then she smiled. Babies don't smile like that. Don't look at you like that. Like they know something you don't. Like they're deciding whether you're worth keeping alive. I deleted the message. Took a leave of absence from work. Started caring for Iris myself. What choice did I have? The neighborhood cats started disappearing when Iris was 18 months old. Mrs. Chen next door lost her tabby named Miso. The Hendersons across the street lost their Siamese twins. The family 3 houses down lost their Persian. 7 cats in 2 months. Animal control said it was probably coyotes, but I'd see Iris standing at her window after I put her to bed. The room would be dark, but she'd be there, silhouette against the glass, watching the yard. I'd go outside in the morning and find things. Paw prints in the dirt leading to our fence, scratches on the gate latch. Once I found a collar buried under the rose bushes my wife had planted. The nameplate said Miso. I dug deeper, found bones, small, picked clean. I reburied everything, planted new roses over the spot. Didn't tell anyone. What could I say? My toddler was killing pets? Iris didn't speak until she was 3 years old. Most children start talking around 12 months, form sentences by 2. She was completely silent. Pediatricians ran tests. Hearing was fine, vocal cords normal. Brain scans showed no abnormalities. They said she was probably just a late bloomer. Some kids were. Then one morning at breakfast, she looked up from her cereal and said in perfect adult articulation, "I'm very hungry, Father. May I have more, please?" Not baby talk. Not simple words. Full complex sentence. Proper grammar. I dropped my coffee mug. It shattered on the kitchen tile. Brown liquid spreading across white grout. Iris looked at the mess, then at me, her pale eyes unblinking. I cleaned up the broken pieces with shaking hands. When I looked back at her bowl, I saw she'd added something to her cereal. Something dark red, still moving slightly. I grabbed the bowl. Inside was a mouse, freshly killed. She'd drowned it in the milk, was eating around it. The cereal had turned pink. I checked her room that afternoon while she napped. Something I'd never done before. Always respected her privacy. But I couldn't ignore this anymore. Her closet was organized. Dresses hanging by color. Shoes lined up perfectly. Too perfect for a 3-year-old. In the back corner was a box. Cardboard. Sealed with duct tape. I opened it. Inside were bones. Small animal bones. Arranged in patterns. Circles and spirals. Some had been gnawed. Teeth marks visible on the fragments. I found jars under her bed. Mason jars from the basement. Filled with dark liquid. Preserving things. Organs. Hearts. Tiny hearts floating in formaldehyde I didn't know where she'd gotten. One jar had a label. Written in crayon. Miso. I sealed everything back up. Left it where I'd found it. Went to my room and threw up in the bathroom. Sat on the floor for an hour. Unable to move. Unable to process what my daughter had become. The school called when Iris was 5. First week of kindergarten. The teacher, Mrs. Alvarez, wanted an emergency meeting. I sat in a tiny chair designed for children, my knees nearly touching my chest. Mrs. Alvarez looked exhausted. Dark circles under her eyes. She'd only been teaching Iris for 3 days. The other children are frightened, she said carefully. Iris has been. Unusual. In her behavior. I asked what she meant. Mrs. Alvarez pulled out drawings from Iris's cubby. Children's artwork is normally messy. Chaotic. These were different. Precise. Detailed. Anatomically correct drawings of dissected animals. Hearts, lungs, digestive systems, labeled in perfect handwriting. She's 5, Mrs. Alvarez said. This isn't normal. There's more. Yesterday during recess, a girl fell, scraped her knee, started bleeding. Iris went over to help, but instead of comforting her, she touched the blood, tasted it, right there in front of everyone. The other children screamed. Iris just smiled. Mrs. Alvarez recommended a child psychologist, gave me 3 referrals, said the school couldn't continue without a professional evaluation. I promised I'd make appointments. I didn't, because what would I tell them? That my daughter collected animal organs? That she tasted blood? That nannies fled in terror? They'd take her away? Put her in an institution? Study her? I couldn't let that happen. She was my daughter, my only connection to my wife. I had to protect her, even from herself, even from what she was becoming. I took Iris home that day. She was quiet in the car, looked out the window. Finally, she spoke. I scared them. Didn't I, Father? I glanced at her in the rearview mirror. Yes, you did. She nodded slowly. I'll try to be better, try to fit in, try to be normal, but it's very hard. The hunger makes it hard. I adopted a dog when Iris was 6, a golden retriever named Bailey. Thought maybe caring for something would help. Teach empathy, give her an outlet. Bailey was 3 years old, well-trained, gentle. He loved everyone, even Iris. He'd follow her around the house, sleep outside her bedroom door. I thought it was working. Thought finally something was reaching her. Then I came home early from work one Thursday, found the garage door open. Inside, Bailey was dead, throat cut. Blood pooled on the concrete. Iris sat cross-legged beside him, her dress soaked red, her hands covered. She looked up at me with those pale eyes and smiled. He wouldn't stop barking, Father. Wouldn't be quiet when I was trying to concentrate. So I made him quiet. Look, she pointed at Bailey's open chest cavity. I found his heart. It's bigger than the cat hearts. Bigger than the mouse hearts. Do you think human hearts are even bigger? I called the police. Told them an animal must have gotten in. Attacked our dog. They came. Took photos. Filed a report. Said it looked like a coyote attack. Lots of those lately. I agreed. Nodded. Thanked them for coming. After they left, I cleaned up the blood. Iris watched from the doorway, studying how I scrubbed, what chemicals I used, taking mental notes. When I finished, she asked if we could get another dog. Something bigger this time. Something with more to study. I told her no. We'd never have another pet. She looked disappointed, then shrugged. That's okay, Father. There are other things to learn from. Other ways to understand how bodies work. She went to her room. I heard her humming. A song my wife used to sing, but wrong somehow. The notes distorted, made uncomfortable. That night, I made the call. I'd heard about Victor Reyes 2 years earlier. A business associate had mentioned him during a late-night conversation. Drinks after a conference. The associate had been having problems. A business partner stealing, threatening, the kind of problem that couldn't be solved legally. Victor had handled it, made it disappear, made it look like an accident. My associate gave me the number, said to only call if I was absolutely certain. If there was no other way, I'd kept the number, hidden in my wallet, behind my driver's license. Never thought I'd actually use it. But Bailey's blood was still under my fingernails. Iris's humming drifted down the hallway. That wrong song, those distorted notes. I dialed. A man answered, didn't give his name. I asked for Victor. He asked who was calling. I used the code word my associate had given me. Said I needed a consultation. He told me to meet at a parking garage downtown. Level 3, 10 p.m. Come alone. Victor Reyes was 45, silver hair, expensive suit, calm eyes that had seen terrible things and stopped caring. He leaned against a black sedan, smoking a cigarette. I parked 3 spaces away, walked over. He looked me up and down, assessing. You're the one who called. I nodded. He took a drag, exhaled slowly. What's the problem? I explained. Everything. The nannies, the animals, the school, Bailey. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke. You want me to kill a child? A 6-year-old girl? Your daughter? I couldn't say yes out loud. Just nodded. He dropped his cigarette, ground it out with his shoe. That's a first. I've done a lot, but never a kid. I started to apologize, to say I'd made a mistake. He held up his hand. I didn't say no, just said it's a first. This will cost you. 50,000. Half now, half after. I'll make it look like a break-in. Robbery gone wrong. You'll need to be somewhere visible, somewhere with cameras. Lots of witnesses. You'll be the grieving father. Police will investigate. Find nothing connecting you. Case will go cold. He looked at me. You understand there's no going back? Once I do this, it's done. Your daughter is dead. You live with that forever. I gave him 25,000 in cash the next day, money I'd been saving, money that was supposed to be for Iris's college fund. Ironic. He counted it carefully. Didn't rush. When he finished, he put it in a briefcase. Gave me a burner phone. Said he'd call with updates. Would handle everything within the week. I needed to take Iris somewhere public this weekend. Establish routine. Then next week, work late. Have alibis. He'd handle the rest. I asked how he'd do it. He shook his head. Better you don't know. Trust me. I've done this a long time. Never been caught. Never been connected. I'll make sure she doesn't suffer. We'll be quick. Professional. I walked back to my car. Sat in the driver's seat for 20 minutes. Couldn't make myself start the engine. Couldn't process what I'd just arranged. My phone buzzed. Text from Victor. You're doing the right thing, whatever she is. She's not normal, not safe. Better this ends now, before she hurts someone else. 3 days later, the burner phone rang. Unknown number. I answered, expecting Victor's confirmation. Instead, I heard screaming, wet, gurgling, someone choking on their own blood, heavy breathing. Then a voice I didn't recognize, whispering, "Help me, please, Jesus Christ, help me." More choking sounds. Then nothing. Dead silence. The line went dead. My hands started shaking so badly I dropped the phone. It clattered on my office floor. I picked it up, tried calling back. Straight to voicemail. I waited. 1 hour, 2. The burner rang again. Different number. Blocked this time. I answered. Victor's voice came through. Weak. Barely audible. "Your daughter." He coughed. Wet sound. She knew. Was waiting. I don't know how, but she knew. I tried. She's not human. Something's wrong with her. Something. Another wet cough. God. She's still here. Watching me. Smiling. The line went dead again. I tried calling back dozens of times. Nothing. Just voicemail. Just silence. I drove home slowly, taking back roads, delaying, hoping somehow this was a nightmare, that I'd wake up and none of this would be real. But I pulled into my driveway at 7 p.m. The house was dark except for one light, Iris's bedroom window. I sat in the car for 10 minutes, watching that window. Finally, I went inside. The house was quiet. Too quiet. No TV sounds, no humming, nothing. I called Iris's name. No answer. I checked the kitchen. Empty. Living room. Empty. Her bedroom door was closed. I knocked. No response. I opened it slowly. She was sitting on her bed, cross-legged, hands folded in her lap. Her dress was clean, face clean, hair brushed. She looked like a perfect little girl. There was blood under her fingernails, though, fresh, dark red, almost black. She looked up at me with those pale eyes. "Did you have a good day at work, Father?" Her voice was calm, pleasant, like nothing had happened. I asked where she'd been, what she'd done today. She smiled. "I went for a walk, met a nice man in the woods behind our house. He said he wanted to talk to me, said he had questions. So I talked to him, answered his questions. He seemed upset, though. Started yelling, tried to grab me, so I had to protect myself, had to make him stop. She held up her hands, showed me the blood under her nails. He stopped pretty quickly, though. Didn't take long. I think I'm getting better at making people stop. More efficient." She tilted her head. "Why did you send him, Father? Did you want me to stop, too?" I couldn't answer, couldn't speak. She continued. "It's okay. I understand. I know what I am, know what I do. Know it frightens you, frightens everyone, but I can't help it. The hunger is always there, always demanding, always needing." She looked down at her hands. I tried to fight it, tried to be normal, but normal doesn't work for me. I called the police from my office, told them I'd found blood in the woods behind my house. They came with dogs, search teams. They found Victor 3 hours later, deep in the forest. His body was wrong. That's the only word for it. Parts were missing. Other parts were arranged in patterns, symbols carved into trees around him. The detective who interviewed me looked shaken, asked if I knew the victim. I lied. Said no, never seen him before. The detective said it looked like some kind of ritual killing, satanic maybe, or a serial killer establishing a signature. They'd be investigating thoroughly, asking neighbors questions, checking security cameras. I nodded, agreed to cooperate. Told them my daughter and I had been home all evening, eating dinner, watching TV, normal routine. The detective wrote everything down. Never suspected me. Why would he? I was just a single father, a widower, raising a daughter alone, working hard, doing my best. Iris was questioned too, in the presence of a child psychologist. Mandated protocol. They asked if she'd seen anything unusual, heard anything. She put on a perfect performance. Tears, trembling voice. Said she'd been scared, heard noises in the woods. Her father told her to stay inside, lock the doors. She was a good girl, did what she was told. The psychologist wrote notes, praised her for being so brave, so articulate for her age, recommended counseling to deal with the trauma. The police left. Iris waved goodbye from the porch, looking like an innocent victim. Soon as they were gone, her expression changed, went blank. She looked at me. I did well. Didn't I, Father? I convinced them, made them believe. I'm getting very good at pretending, at being what people want to see. You should be proud. I wasn't proud. I was terrified. I started researching that night, after Iris went to bed. After I'd checked and rechecked her door was closed, I spent hours online, looking for answers, for explanations, for any clue what my daughter had become. I found forums about unexplained phenomena, message boards where people shared impossible stories. Most were obvious fiction, but some felt different, felt real. I found a thread about children who weren't children, about changelings, about things that wore human skin but weren't human underneath. One post described exactly what I was seeing. A child who never cried as a baby, who watched things nobody else could see, who developed language suddenly and perfectly, who craved blood and flesh, who killed without remorse. The post said these weren't demons, weren't possessions. They were something else, something born from trauma, from deaths that shouldn't happen, from doorways that opened during suffering. The post mentioned a term, revenant, not the movie kind, the old kind, from medieval texts. Children born when mothers died in agony. The trauma created a tear, let something through, something hungry, something that needed life to sustain itself. These things looked human, could pass for human, but they weren't. They were predators, parasites wearing human faces. The post said most died young. Their hunger consumed them, made them reckless, got them caught. But some learned control, learned to blend. Those lived long lives, leaving trails of bodies behind them, unsolved murders, missing persons, deaths ruled as accidents. The post ended with a warning. If you think you've identified one, don't confront it, don't try to stop it. Get away, run far. These things are stronger than humans, faster, smarter. They've been perfecting the act for years. You can't win against something that's been pretending to be human since birth. I thought about running, packing a bag, leaving in the middle of the night. But where would I go? Iris was my daughter, legally, financially. I couldn't just abandon her, and even if I did, would she let me? She'd killed Victor, a professional, a man trained to kill. She'd known he was coming, had been waiting, had ended him with her bare hands. At 6 years old. If I tried to run, she'd know, would follow, would find me. I was trapped with a monster wearing my daughter's face, using my daughter's name, sleeping down the hall. I didn't sleep that night, just sat in bed, lights on, door locked, listening for sounds, for movement, for that humming that wasn't quite right. Morning came. Iris knocked on my door at 7, asked if I was awake, said she'd made breakfast. I opened the door slowly. She stood there in a pink nightgown, hair messy from sleep, looking like every normal 6-year-old. I followed her downstairs. She'd made pancakes, perfectly round, perfectly cooked, arranged on plates with fruit, orange juice poured, table set with napkins and silverware. We ate in silence. She watched me the entire time, studying my reactions, my expressions, learning me. When I finished, she took my plate, washed it, dried it, put it away. Then she turned, her expression serious. We need to talk, Father, about what happened, about the man in the woods. I need you to understand. I don't want to hurt people, don't enjoy it, not really. But the hunger, it demands, and when people try to hurt me, try to stop me, I have to defend myself, have to make them stop first. It's survival. You understand survival, don't you, Father? I asked her what she wanted from me, what she expected. She thought for a moment. I want normal, want to go to school, have friends, grow up, experience life. But I need things. She struggled for words. Food isn't enough. Regular food. I need more. Need what's inside, what makes things alive. I can control it, can wait, can plan. But I need you to help me. Need you to. She paused. Provide. I felt sick. She wanted me to help her kill, to bring her victims, to enable her hunting. She saw my expression. Not people, Father. Never people. Just animals. Big animals. Ones that won't be missed. I can make do with that. Can control the hunger if I feed it regularly, if I have. Supplies. She was asking me to become an accomplice, to help her feed, to participate in her predation. I told her no. Absolutely not. She nodded slowly. I understand. This is difficult, frightening, but think about the alternative. If I don't feed, can't control myself, what happens then? Who do I hurt? Who do I kill? Better animals than people, better controlled feeding than random violence. She was right. I hated that she was right, but she was. If I didn't help, if I forced her to hunt on her own, to feed her hunger desperately, she'd eventually hurt someone, a child at school, a neighbor, someone who'd be missed, someone whose death would bring real investigation, real consequences. This way, if I helped, I could manage it, control it, keep her contained, keep others safe, even if it damned my soul. I agreed, told her I'd help, but she had to promise. No people, never people, only animals, only what I provided. She smiled, that cold smile. Thank you, Father. I'll be good, I promise. I'll be so good. You won't regret this. But I already did. I regretted everything, every choice that led to this moment, every time I'd looked away, pretended things were normal, enabled her, protected her. I was as much a monster as she was. Maybe more, because I knew better, and I did it anyway. I started small, bought rabbits from a pet store, told them I was starting a breeding program. They didn't care, sold me 6. I brought them home, set up cages in the garage. Iris was delighted, came home from school and ran to see them. She didn't kill them immediately. That surprised me. She'd sit with them, pet them, talk to them, like a normal child with normal pets. But once a week, she'd choose one, take it to her room. I'd hear sounds, brief, then silence. She'd bring the body down, already cleaned, already processed, ask me to bury it in the yard. I did, under the roses, added to the collection already there. This went on for months. The rabbits bred, made more. Iris was careful, never took too many, kept the population stable, managed her hunger, controlled herself. I started to think maybe this could work. Maybe we could maintain this horrible balance. School became a problem again. Iris was in second grade now. 7 years old. Smart. Too smart. She finished assignments before other children started. Read books meant for high schoolers. Understood concepts that shouldn't make sense to a 7-year-old. Teachers were concerned. Wanted to test her. Move her to gifted programs. Special schools. I refused. Said she needed to stay with her age group. Needed socialization. They pushed back. Said she was bored. Acting out. I asked what she was doing. They showed me. She'd been teaching other children things. Advanced biology. Anatomy. How bodies worked. How organs connected. How blood flowed. She'd drawn diagrams. Detailed. Accurate. Medical textbook level. The other parents were concerned. Said it was inappropriate. Disturbing. I met with the principal. A woman named Dr. Vance. She was diplomatic. Said Iris was gifted. But her interests were unusual. Concerning. She recommended psychiatric evaluation. I'd heard that before. I refused again. Said I'd talk to Iris. Handle it at home. Dr. Vance didn't look convinced. But she let it go. Said she trusted my judgment. She shouldn't have. Iris's 8th birthday came. I threw a small party. Invited kids from her class. 5 showed up. Their parents stayed. Didn't trust leaving their children. I understood. We played normal party games, musical chairs, pin the tail, cake, and ice cream. Iris was perfect. Laughed at the right times. Said thank you. Shared toys. The other kids seemed to have fun, but their parents watched her. I saw it. The way they tracked her movements. The way they positioned themselves between Iris and their children. They sensed something, even if they couldn't articulate it, even if they didn't consciously understand. Some primitive part of their brains recognized predator, recognized danger. The party ended early, parents making excuses, sudden headaches, forgotten appointments. Within an hour, everyone was gone. Iris stood in the empty living room, surrounded by decorations and leftover cake. She looked at me. They're afraid of me. I tried to be normal, tried to fit in, but they still know, still sense it. I told her she'd done fine, had been perfect. She shook her head. Perfect isn't enough. They'll always know, always feel it. I'm trying to be something I'm not, trying to fit into a shape that doesn't match. Maybe I should stop pretending, stop trying to be human. That night I found her in the garage, standing in front of the rabbit cages. They were all dead, all 6, killed quickly, efficiently. She hadn't fed on them, just killed them. She turned when she heard me, tears on her face, real tears. First time I'd seen her cry since she was born. I can't do this anymore, Father. Can't keep pretending. Can't keep being what everyone wants. It hurts, being something I'm not, fitting into spaces too small, forcing myself into shapes that don't match. I don't know what I am, don't know what I'm supposed to be, but I know I'm not. This. She gestured at herself, at the house, at everything. I don't know how to fix it, don't know how to make the hunger stop, make the thoughts stop, make any of it stop. I tried to comfort her, put my hand on her shoulder. She flinched away. Don't, please. If you're kind to me, I'll break. I'll stop fighting, stop controlling. I need. She couldn't finish. Just slid down the wall, sat on the concrete, sobbing. I left her there. Didn't know what else to do. Didn't know how to help something that shouldn't exist. The rabbits were the end of our arrangement. Iris refused to let me buy more. Said it wasn't working, wasn't enough. The hunger was getting worse, stronger. No matter how much she fed, it was never satisfied, never quiet. It was consuming her from inside, taking over. She was losing the fight, losing herself to whatever lived behind her eyes. She asked me to find another solution. I didn't know what that meant, didn't want to know, but she was getting desperate. I could see it. The way she looked at people now, not just watching, evaluating, measuring, deciding. I started keeping her home from school, said she was sick. The school called, threatened truancy charges. I didn't care. Better that than the alternative. Better isolated than hunting. I worked from home, watched her constantly, locked her bedroom door at night, from the outside. She didn't complain, didn't fight it, just accepted the captivity, accepted that this was what her life had become. My brother Derek called one evening. We hadn't spoken in months. He lived across the country. Different life, different world. He asked how things were, how Iris was doing. I lied. Said everything was fine, great. Iris was doing well in school, making friends, normal childhood. He didn't believe me. I could hear it in his voice, the skepticism. He said he'd been having dreams, nightmares about his niece, about something being wrong. He wanted to visit, come see us, make sure everything was okay. I told him no, made excuses. Work was busy, Iris was busy, not a good time. He pushed back, said family was important. He was worried, hadn't seen us in years, didn't know his niece. I got angry, told him to mind his business. We were fine, didn't need him checking up on us. He went quiet, then said something that made my blood freeze. I know what's happening. I've been researching, looking into unusual child behavior, found stories, reports, things that match what you've described over the years. I know what Iris is, what she's become, and I know you're trying to handle it alone, but you can't. This is too big, too dangerous. You need help. I asked how he knew, what he'd found. He said he'd been tracking missing persons reports, animal deaths, unexplained incidents near our address. The pattern was clear. Obvious if you knew what to look for. He'd found other cases, too. Similar patterns in other cities, other states. Children who seemed normal, but weren't. Who left trails of death. Most were caught eventually. Institutionalized or worse. He said there were people who specialized in this. Who understood what these things were. Who knew how to contain them, help them, maybe even cure them. I told him Iris couldn't be cured. Wasn't sick. Was something else entirely. He agreed. Said that's why we needed specialists. People who dealt with the unusual, the impossible, the things that shouldn't exist. He gave me a name. Father Matthias Cordero. A priest who worked outside official church channels. Who handled cases nobody else would touch. Cases involving things that weren't supposed to be real. I researched Father Cordero that night. Found very little. A few mentions in obscure religious texts. A website that looked 30 years old. A phone number with no voicemail. I called it anyway, half expecting nothing. It rang 6 times. Then someone answered. A man's voice. Old. Tired. He didn't give a greeting. Just waited. I asked for Father Cordero. He said speaking. I explained my situation. Carefully. Waiting for him to hang up. To call me crazy. He didn't. Just listened. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "How old is your daughter?" 8. Another pause. "And the death started when?" "She was 18 months old." That's later than usual. Most start within weeks of birth. The fact that she waited suggests some level of control, some awareness. That's unusual. He asked detailed questions about Iris's behavior, her capabilities, her victims. I answered everything. Felt strange relief talking to someone who believed me, who didn't think I was insane. Father Cordero finally spoke. "What you're describing is called a revenant, not in the modern sense, the old sense, from medieval texts. Children born when mothers die in traumatic ways. The death creates a tear, a doorway. Something comes through, attaches to the newborn, merges with it. What results is complicated, part human, part something else. The human parts fade over time, consumed by the other. By adolescence, most are entirely gone. What's left is pure predator, pure hunger, no conscience, no empathy, no humanity. I asked if they could be saved, if the human part could be preserved." He sighed. "I've encountered 4 in my career. 40 years of this work. 4. One was caught and executed at age 12. One disappeared, probably dead. One is institutionalized, heavily sedated, restrained, dying slowly. The 4th, I helped the parents do what needed to be done." He paused. "The thing is, they're not evil, not in the moral sense. They're wrong, existing in a state that violates natural law. They shouldn't be. Their existence causes suffering, to themselves and others. Ending them is mercy." I asked how. "How do you end something like that?" He said fire was the only certainty. Complete cremation. Nothing left. Ashes scattered in running water. Specific prayers said. Rituals performed. He could help, could provide guidance, but I had to be certain, had to commit fully. No hesitation. No mercy, because these things were strong, stronger than humans, and they knew. Somehow they always knew when someone meant them harm. Iris would know if I tried, would defend herself. I thought about Victor, about his last phone call, about his body in the woods. Father Cordero was right. She'd known, had been waiting, was always waiting. I told him I'd think about it. He gave me his address, said to come when I was ready. But don't wait too long. The older they get, the stronger they get. And your daughter is approaching the age where the human parts disappear completely, where nothing remains but hunger. Once that happens, there's no reaching her, no stopping her. She becomes unstoppable. I hung up, sat in my home office. Lights off, just streetlight coming through the window. I could hear Iris moving in her room, pacing, restless. The hunger was bad tonight. I could tell by the rhythm of her steps, by the scratching sounds on the walls. She was fighting it, trying to control it, but losing. I had to decide, help her die, or let her become what she was meant to be, a predator, a killer, something that would eventually be caught, eventually hurt someone who mattered, someone whose death would bring real consequences. Or I could run, leave her, disappear, let someone else deal with the problem. But I couldn't. She was my daughter, my responsibility, my fault, because some part of me still loved her, still loved the idea of what she should have been, the child my wife had wanted, the future we'd planned. I couldn't let that go, couldn't abandon that dream, even though the dream was long dead, even though what remained was nightmare. The decision made itself, really. I called Derek back, told him to meet me at Father Cordero's address, 3 days from now, bring supplies, accelerant, matches, heavy blankets, rope. He didn't ask why, just said he'd be there. I made arrangements, told Iris we were going on a trip, a vacation, somewhere quiet, somewhere she could be herself without hiding. Her eyes lit up. Real excitement, real joy. She asked where. I said it was a surprise. She'd like it, though. I promised. She hugged me. First time in years. Her small arms around my waist, her head against my chest. She felt cold, always so cold, like something already dead. She whispered, "Thank you, Father, for everything, for trying, for not giving up on me, even when you should have, even when I gave you every reason. I love you. I know I don't show it right, don't feel it right, but I do. In whatever way things like me can love. I held her, memorized the feeling, knowing it might be the last time. We drove north 3 days later. 4-hour trip to Father Cordero's church. Small building in the mountains, surrounded by forest. Isolated, no neighbors for miles. Derek met us there. He looked older than I remembered, gray in his beard, lines around his eyes. He hugged me, looked at Iris. She smiled at him, that cold smile. He flinched, covered it quickly, but I saw. Iris saw too. Her smile widened slightly. Father Cordero came out to greet us. 70 years old, white hair, kind eyes that had seen terrible things. He looked at Iris for a long time. She stared back, unblinking. Finally, he nodded. Come inside, all of you. We have work to do. We followed him through the church, downstairs, into a basement, stone walls, dirt floor, symbols carved into every surface, old symbols, from before Christianity, from something ancient, something that knew about things like Iris, how to contain them, how to end them. Father Cordero explained the process. Iris would be bound, physically and spiritually, prayers said, rituals performed, then the fire, quick, efficient, merciful. Her body would be cremated completely, ashes gathered, taken to the river, scattered while more prayers were said. Specific prayers, older than Latin, from languages long dead. This would ensure she couldn't return, couldn't find a way back, couldn't attach to another child, another victim. He looked at me. You understand this is permanent, irreversible. Once we begin, we finish. No matter what happens, no matter what she says, no matter how she begs, we finish. I nodded. Iris stood quietly beside me, listening, learning. She didn't look scared, looked curious, interested, like she wanted to understand the process, the methodology. Father Cordero saw it too. His expression grew grim. She knows. Knew before we got here. Revenants always do. They sense death, sense endings. But she came anyway. That's unusual. Most fight. Run. She's choosing this. Choosing to end. That suggests. He trailed off. Didn't finish the thought. Derek helped Father Cordero prepare. They drew more symbols, salt lines, protective circles, things meant to contain, to prevent escape. Iris watched with interest, asked questions about the symbols, their meanings, their purposes. Father Cordero answered carefully, surprised by her intelligence, her genuine curiosity. When everything was ready, he asked Iris to step into the center circle. She did without hesitation, stood still while Derek bound her hands, tied her to a post in the center. She didn't struggle, didn't complain, just stood there, calm, accepting. Father Cordero began the prayers, Latin first, then something else, something guttural, something that hurt to hear. The air in the basement changed, grew heavy, thick, hard to breathe. Candles flickered though there was no wind. The temperature dropped. I could see my breath. Derek stepped back, his hand on his throat, gagging. Father Cordero continued praying, his voice steady despite the strain. Iris spoke then, her voice different, deeper, multiple voices layered over each other. You think this will end me? You think fire and prayers will erase what I am? I'm older than your God, older than your symbols, older than language itself. I've worn 1,000 faces, lived 1,000 lives, consumed 1,000 souls. This girl is just the latest, just another vessel, another way to feed. Burn her, scatter her, pray over her ashes. It doesn't matter, I'll find another. I always do. There's always another traumatic death, another doorway, another chance. Father Cordero's prayers grew louder, desperate. The voices laughed, multiple laughs. Children, adults, old voices, young voices, all laughing, all mocking. Derek poured accelerant. The smell filled the basement. Gasoline, strong, overwhelming. Iris, the thing wearing Iris, stopped laughing. Its expression changed, became serious. Wait, please wait. Let her. It struggled with words, struggled with identity. Let her say goodbye. She deserves that. She's been fighting me. All these years, fighting to be human, to be normal, to be what he wanted. It looked at me. Let her say goodbye to her father. Then you can do what you came to do. The multiple voices faded. Iris's real voice returned, small, frightened, childlike for the first time since she was born. Daddy? Her eyes were different, the pale green gone, replaced with hazel. My wife's eyes in my daughter's face. For the first time. Daddy, I'm scared. I don't want to die. I don't want to go. I tried so hard, tried to be good, tried to make you proud, but the hunger, it was always there, always demanding. I couldn't stop it, couldn't control it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything, for the animals, for the people I hurt, for Victor, for Grandma. I didn't want to, but I couldn't stop. And now I have to go, have to end, because if I don't, I'll keep hurting people, keep killing, keep feeding, and I can't. I can't live like that anymore. Daddy, please, please make it stop. Make the hunger stop. Make everything stop. I love you. I love you so much. I'm sorry I couldn't be what you wanted. Sorry I couldn't be normal. Sorry I couldn't be human. I knelt beside her, took her face in my hands, those hazel eyes looking at me, really seeing me, really being present for the first time and last time. I told her I loved her, told her I was sorry. Sorry I couldn't save her. Sorry I couldn't fix this. Sorry I had to do this. She smiled, a real smile, warm, human. Thank you, Daddy, for trying, for staying, for not running away. You're a good father, better than I deserved. Now please, please do it, before I change back, before it takes over again. I can feel it trying, pulling, pushing. Do it while I'm still me, while I can still say goodbye. I stood. Derek handed me the lighter. Father Cordero finished his prayers. The room went still, silent. I looked at my daughter one last time, memorizing her face, those hazel eyes, that real smile. Then I dropped the lighter. The flame hit the accelerant. Iris went up instantly, fire consuming her small body, but she didn't scream, didn't cry out, just stood there burning, that smile never fading, those eyes never leaving mine, watching me until the very end. 5 years later, I still light a candle on her birthday, still whisper prayers Father Cordero taught me, still check shadows for pale green eyes that shouldn't exist, knowing I killed my daughter to save her soul, and wondering every day if I made the right choice, or if I'm just another monster who learned to hide his nature behind the mask of mercy. Thanks for watching till the end. Make sure to subscribe and like to not miss the next story.